Question 42.9. Questioner: how can a person know when he is unswayed by an emotionally charged situation, or if he is repressing the flow of emotions, or if he is in balance and truly unswayed? Answer: I am Ra. We have spoken to this point. Therefore, we shall briefly iterate that to the balanced entity no situation has an emotional charge but is simply a situation like any other in which the entity may or may not observe an opportunity to be of service. The closer an entity comes to this attitude, the closer an entity is to balance. You may note that it is not our recommendation that reactions to catalysts be repressed or suppressed unless such reactions would be a stumbling block not consonant with the law of one to another self. It is far, far better to allow the experience to express itself in order that the entity may then make fuller use of this catalyst. Question 42.10. Questioner: how can an individual assess what energy centers within its being are activated and in no immediate need of attention, and which energy centers are not activated and are in need of immediate attention? Answer: I am Ra. The thoughts of an entity, its feelings or emotions, and least of all its behavior, are the signposts for the teaching learning of self by self. In the analysis of one's experiences of a diurnal cycle, an entity may assess what it considers to be inappropriate thoughts, behaviors, feelings, and emotions. In examining these inappropriate activities of mind, body, and spirit complexes, the entity may then place these distortions in the proper vibrational ray and thus see where work is needed. Question 42.11. Questioner: in the last session you said that when the self is conscious to a great enough extent of the workings of the catalyst of fasting and the techniques of programming, it then may, through concentration of the will and the faculty of faith alone, cause reprogramming without the analogy of fasting, diet, or other analogous bodily complex disciplines. What are the techniques of programming which the higher self uses to ensure that the desired lessons are learned or attempted by the third density self? Answer: I am Ra. There is but one technique for this growing or nurturing of will and faith, and that is the focusing of the attention. The attention span of those you call children is considered short. The spiritual attention span of most of your peoples is that of the child. Thus it is a matter of wishing to become able to collect one's attention and hold it upon the desired programming. This, when continued, strengthens the will. The entire activity can only occur when there exists faith that an outcome of this discipline is possible. Question 42.12. Questioner: can you mention some exercises for helping to increase the attention span? Answer: I am Ra. Such exercises are common among the many mystical traditions of your entities. The visualization of a shape and color which is of personal inspirational quality to the meditator is the heart of what you would call the religious aspects of this sort of visualization. The visualization of simple shapes and colors which have no innate inspirational quality to the entity form the basis for what you may call your magical traditions. Whether you image the rouse or the circle is not important. However, it is suggested that one or the other path towards visualization be chosen in order to exercise this faculty. This is due to the careful arrangement of shapes and colors which have been described as visualizations by those steeped in the magical tradition. Question 42.13. Questioner: as a youth I was trained in the engineering sciences, which include the necessity for three-dimensional visualization for the processes of design. Would this be helpful as a foundation for the type of visualization which you are speaking of, or would it be of no value? Answer: I am Ra. To you, the questioner, this experience was valuable. To a less sensitized entity it would not gain the proper increase of concentrative energy. Question 42.14. Questioner: then the less sensitized entity should use, what should he use for the proper energy? Answer: I am Ra. In the less sensitized individual the choosing of personally inspirational images is appropriate, whether this inspiration be the rouse which is of perfect beauty, the cross which is of perfect sacrifice, the Buddha which is the all-being in one, or whatever else may inspire the individual. Question 42.15. Questioner: I had one experience in meditation which I spoke of before, which was very profound approximately 20 years ago, a little less. What disciplines would be the most applicable to create this situation and this type of experience? Answer: I am Ra. Your experience will best be approached from the ceremonial magical stance. However, the wanderer or adept shall have the far greater potential for this type of experience which, as you have undoubtedly analyzed to be the case, is one of an archetypal nature, one belonging to the roots of cosmic consciousness. Question 42.16. Questioner: was that in any way related to the Golden Dawn in ceremonial magic? Answer: I am Ra. The relationship was congruency. Question 42.17. Questioner: then in attempting to reproduce this experience, would I then best follow the practices for the Order of the Golden Dawn in reproducing this? Answer: I am Ra. To attempt to reproduce an initiatory experience is to move, shall we say, backwards. However, the practice of this form of service to others is appropriate in your case working with your associates. It is not well for positively polarized entities to work singly. The reasons for this are obvious. Question 42.18. Questioner: then this experience was a form of initiation? Is this correct? Answer: I am Ra. Yes. Question 42.19. Questioner: using the teach-learning relationship of parent to child, what type of actions would demonstrate the activation of the energy centers in sequence from red to violet? Answer: I am Ra. This shall be the last full query of this working. The entity, child or adult, as you call it, is not an instrument to be played. The appropriate teach-learning device of parent to child is the open-hearted beingness of the parent and the total acceptance of the beingness of the child. This will encompass whatever material the child entity has brought into the life experience in this plane. There are two things especially important in this relationship other than the basic acceptance of the child by the parent. Firstly, the experience of whatever means the parent uses to worship and give thanksgiving to the one infinite creator should if possible be shared with the child entity upon a daily basis, as you would say. Secondly, the compassion of parent to child may well be tempered by the understanding that the child entity shall learn the biases of service to others or service to self from the parental other self. This is the reason that some discipline is appropriate in the teach-learning. This does not apply to the activation of any one energy center, for each entity is unique and each relationship with self and other self doubly unique. The guidelines given are only general for this reason. Is there a brief query before we leave this instrument? Question 42.20. Questioner: is there anything that we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or to improve the contact? Answer: I am Ra. The instrument is well. I leave you, my friends, in the love and the light of the infinite Creator. Go forth, then, rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one infinite Creator. Adonai.